They said Marcus collapsed and died. Greensboro police said Marcus Smith died all on his own, and the cops didn't have nothing to do with it. But that was a lie. It was a lie they told us. It was a lie they told that family. It's a lie they told the state medical examiner's office. What actually happened was that Marcus went up to some cops and asked them for help. He said he was in distress, he wanted to go to the hospital. And those policemen used a rip hobble device to hog-tie that man until he suffocated to death. You read on the instructions of a rip hobble, it shows you how to use it in a way that is not lethal to a suspect. Greensboro police didn't do that. They ignored correct procedure, and they hog-tied Marcus Smith like an animal until he couldn't breathe no more. And after that, the police lied about what they did. They thought a houseless black man did not matter. They thought no one would notice his loss, or that no one would notice the police lies. I mean, Chief Scott stood in front of a camera months after this and repeated those lies again, even after we knew the truth. So the police were wrong. Marcus did matter. Marcus has a family that loves him like crazy, and they stood up and they fought until the truth came out. Marcus was choked to death by some cops. I'm going to take a moment and pronounce the names of those cops that killed Marcus. There's an Officer Bradshaw, an Officer Montalvo, an Officer Strader, an Officer Andrews, an Officer Duncan, an Officer Lewis, an Officer Payne, and an Officer Brady. That many people, why do you need to tie somebody up like that at all?
Right.
You had 8 killers with a total disrespect for black life, and they still walk our streets today with their guns and their badges, the ones that haven't been allowed to retire. No one was ever arrested. No one's ever reprimanded. Now we have a new police chief in Greensboro. And after 4 Minnesota police officers were charged with murder for suffocating George Floyd to death this past May, Greensboro Police Chief Brian James denounced that killing. He said it left a stain on law enforcement nationwide. The murder charges were, in his words, completely appropriate. So why hasn't Chief James arrested and charged his own officers for killing Marcus? Nothing but hypocrisy. I don't know how Chief James goes to home at night and looks himself in those cowardly eyes. I don't know how he goes to sleep. Marcus's blood on his hands. I want to thank all y'all for coming out here today. I know the family wants to thank y'all for coming out today.
Yes!
I know we're all here today because our police department's actions are unacceptable to the people.
Yeah.
There's an old habit of not applying the rules to the cops. We see it in Greensboro all the time, and we have for decades. So our city council and our city manager hog-tying a houseless black man like that, and you pretending that you didn't do it at all, apparently it's not a big deal. Not one of them has shown any interest in punishing the officers, killing, or for the cover-up. Our city leaders think that police brutality is normal. They act like killing and lying and classism and racism from the police is acceptable. The killing and lying may be okay with Chief James, but it is not okay with the people.
Right.
Racism may be acceptable to city council, but it is not acceptable to the people. Attacks on the poor may be okay with our city manager, but the people are not going to accept it. Greensboro's police department needs to be abolished. It is an unredeemable and unreformable institution dedicated to white supremacy and class prejudice. People sometimes talk about the good apples and the bad apples at the police department, and I kept a count of all the cops who stood up for the right thing after Marcus Smith was killed. All the ones in Greensboro and Guilford County, and you get a total of 0. Now, 0 good apples